Well, thank you, Emil, very much for the introduction and for inviting me here. Besides all those great things that I am, I'm also a recovering alcoholic and pothead. And I'm pretty sure when I was writing my book, I realized I must be a sex addict too, because it seemed like all my stories were about women. And I'm also a high school dropout. Dropped out 3 times, just to make sure I got it right. The idea of an expert in mindfulness is kind of funny to me anyway. I'm trying to be mindful right now because that's my practice and that's what I do to stay sane. As I was driving up today, I noticed some anxiety, and I thought, can I do something about this? Or is it just there? So I inclined my mind, a good phrase, I inclined my mind towards calm. Kind of went, took a breath. What happens if I just kind of try to release this? Okay. Took a little bit off it. Then I was like, I'm in the fast lane going 75. What will happen if I slow down and go in the middle lane? Did that? Oh, that helped a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So there was the internal, and then there was the external. And then there was still some there. And then there was the recognition that, oh, you're in a vehicle that's traveling at a speed that you would die very quickly if you ran into something. So your body knows that you're at risk. So there's that natural tension. And you're on the way to a place you've never been before, where people think they're going to get something from you. You're supposed to perform. And you know, you might succeed or you might fail. And if you fail, of course, that's the death of the ego. So you're at risk there, and there's not much you can do about that. So that's the part that I accept. So you could say I was kind of doing a meditative serenity prayer, accepting the things I couldn't change and trying to do something about the things I could, and just looking at that. So that was my mindfulness practice as I drove up here today. And the reason I tell you that is because mindfulness isn't something you teach people. It's something that you do. And if you want to help people to be mindful, you have to learn to be mindful yourself. And you have to practice mindfulness yourself. Everybody here has probably read a book on mindfulness or Buddhism or some meditation or spiritual thing. And when you put the book down, it's over, you know, unless you pick up the tools and do it yourself. I have a friend who's a therapist who worked in treatment for many years and still does. I think he got laid off recently, but that's happened to a lot of us. But we've talked about treatment and recovery, and he says, I asked him, well, what kind of therapy do you do? You know, because there's all these different schools of therapy. I'm not a psychologist, but you know, I've spent a lot of time talking to them and paying them to listen to me. So I think I know something about what they do. Okay, you are allowed to laugh. Even if it's not funny, you can laugh if you think I'm trying to be funny, because that'll make me feel better. That'll be. And I teach a lot better when people make me feel like they, you know, that I'm funny, even if I'm not. That's good. That's good. So I asked him, well, you know, what do you do then? If you know, he said, I don't believe in any of those diagnoses. I don't use the DSM anymore, and I don't I'm not a Rogerian or an Adlerian or a cognitive therapist. I said, well, what the hell do you do then? He said, I try to help people to develop a therapeutic relationship with themselves. And so when I heard that, I said, well, I think what I do is I try to help people to develop a meditative relationship with themselves. So that's what I hope we can start today, if you don't already have that. And if you do, that I just help you, I encourage you to continue that. Maybe give you some hints along the way. It's going to take me a while to sort of absorb just sort of being here.